Hello, patrons of the comic realms, and welcome to another episode of Virtual Violence on Grudge Match, the show where we pluck the toughest of the tough from DC and Marvel Comics from their home universes and thrust them into neutral territory to duke it out for our amusement. Today's slugfest is sure to be especially brutal when two of the most powerful bruisers are going to be beating the absolute hell out of each other. It's the irresistible force from Marvel, the avatar of Sidorak, the unstoppable Juggernaut, versus the DC Comics killer of Superman, destruction personified, the ultimate life form. It's Doomsday. Strength and invulnerability is definitely going to be the name of the game in this fight, ladies and gentlemen. These two characters are most commonly known for being incredibly, almost uncalculably strong and virtually indestructible. So what is going to happen when the indestructible and absolutely incalculably strong collide with one another? Well, let's take a look at them individually. Starting with Juggernaut, Cain Marko is his real name, first created in 1965. His background is very rooted in the mutant fields of Marvel Comics, even though he himself is not a mutant. He is the stepbrother of Professor X, Charles Xavier, and they always had a very contentious relationship. Cain Marko always sort of hated Xavier because his father always doted on Xavier and liked Xavier more than he did Cain, even though Cain was his biological son and Xavier was only his stepson. So he hated Xavier all through his life, and as they got older, they both eventually joined the army and found themselves serving in the same unit. At one point, Cain deserted his unit and found himself in the area of the Temple of Sidorak. Sidorak was a godlike being who at one point was worshipped on Earth. And in this temple, Cain Marko found the Gem of Sidorak, and by grabbing a hold of it and reading the inscription that was on it, he gained the power bestowed on him by the god Sidorak and became his avatar on Earth. Now, Sidorak, a very godlike being, is part of the Octessence. The Octessence are a group of 8 godlike powerful creatures who bestow their power on avatars on Earth. Another famous member of the Octessence is Watum, who has given a lot of his power to Doctor Strange through the Wand of Watum. Now, these powers that Sidorak imbued Cain Marko with mostly focus on great strength and durability. Juggernaut has immense superhuman strength, almost incalculable superhuman strength. This strength has allowed him to go toe-to-toe with the heaviest hitters of the Marvel Universe, including the Incredible Hulk, including Thor, virtually anyone of great strength in Marvel. Juggernaut has been able to go toe-to-toe with them and hold his own, if not outright defeat them. In addition to his incredible strength is his incredible durability. Almost could be said Juggernaut is more known for his durability and that virtually nothing can harm him. This comes by way of 2 different mechanisms for invulnerability. His physical body is superhumanly durable, but it's actually only about 4 times as durable as a regular human. His tissues are about 4 times as dense, 4 times as durable as a normal human. The majority of his durability comes in the form of a skin-tight force field that he has around him at all times. This is an invisible force field, so it's easy to not notice it, but this is the majority of his durability, this mystical force field which can take virtually any amount of damage and leave Juggernaut completely unaffected by it. In addition to this strength and durability, Juggernaut is also completely self-sustenant. He does not need air to survive, he does not need food, he does not need sleep, he does not need any of the common things that any living being would need to survive. So, in addition to that, virtual immortality. Because of his durability and because of his not needing anything to survive, there's virtually no way for him to die. Also, he's known as being the irresistible force. This force field that surrounds him becomes even more powerful when he gets moving in a certain direction, so that's why it's said that nothing can stop the Juggernaut once he starts moving. Doomsday, first created in 1992. His origins go back many, many thousands of years. He was created on ancient Krypton long before Superman's Kryptonian race ever came to prominence. So he's not the same species of Kryptonian as Superman or other Kryptonians are. Now, he was created as part of an experiment designed to create the ultimate life form. He was created and he would essentially be killed over and over again through various means, and then they would clone him, and the clone would then be stronger and more resistant to the type of injury it sustained that killed it before. Over time, it got to the point where he didn't need to be cloned anymore, and he could resurrect every time he was killed, and he would come back much, much stronger and resistant to the thing that killed him before. In many instances, totally immune to the thing that killed him before. And this reactive resurrection is his most prominent ability, and it's the thing that keeps Doomsday coming back again and again and again in the comics, no matter how many times he happens to be killed. Throughout all of his resurrections and all of his increases in power over the many centuries, he has been imbued with immense superhuman strength as well. Superhuman strength to the level that can do practically anything. It's incalculable. It's to the level where he can easily fight multiple superhuman strength opponents, multiple Kryptonians, and be able to fend them off relatively easily. Also, an immense level of durability. Now, it's not due to a force field the way Juggernaut's is. His durability, Doomsday's durability, is inherent to his physical body. It can just withstand virtually any level of punishment. He also has self-sustenance. He does not need to eat, does not need to breathe, does not need to sleep. He's completely self-sustenant. And in addition to these abilities, in addition to his reactive resurrection, Doomsday also has reactive adaptation. He doesn't necessarily have to die to adapt to certain conditions. The more he fights a particular opponent, the more his body will naturally adapt to that opponent and gain ways to overcome their particular abilities. These powers have allowed him to obviously kill Superman, most famously, but he's also been able to take on other major powerhouses in the DC universe, such as Imperiex and Darkseid. So having taken a look at these two characters and gauge their abilities, it's time to determine what would happen if they were to ever go fist to fist, blow for blow, and who would win. The winner's going to be Doomsday. The reason for Doomsday's win of this grudge match is going to come down to his reactive adaptation. Now, it's easy to say that a fight between these two is going to be a very pitched one. It's going to last a very long time because you're dealing with two characters who can practically never be harmed. So it's totally true that the Juggernaut, once he gets moving, he can't be stopped. Nothing stops the Juggernaut. And Doomsday's not really a immovable object. So Juggernaut would certainly be able to smack Doomsday around, knock him down, knock him around, and then Doomsday's going to be able to get back up from every one of those and turn around and do the same thing to Juggernaut. This is going to be a very back and forth battle any way you slice it. But what's going to eventually happen is that Doomsday's reactive adaptation is going to kick in, and he's going to adapt to Juggernaut's force field. This has happened in the comics before, where Doomsday has adapted to various types of energy, even mystical energy, and types of energy that one wouldn't think a purely physical character like Doomsday would be able to adapt to. But he's been able to adapt to an energy being known as the Radiant, who is a being made out of pure energy. Doomsday eventually adapted to be able to fight back against him. He's been able to adapt to Green Lanterns that he's fought and effortlessly break through their force fields, and the Green Lantern ring is regarded as one of the most powerful weapons in the DC universe. And multiple other times, Doomsday has adapted on the fly to the specific powers of those he's fought. After a while of fighting Juggernaut, he'll adapt to the force field of Juggernaut and be able to counteract it. And once that force field has been removed from Juggernaut, he's only dealing with his inherent durability, which stated before is only about 4 times that of a normal human. Well, Doomsday can certainly injure 4 times human durability. Doomsday could probably injure 1,000 times human durability. So once he's adapted to Juggernaut's force field, that's going to take away the mainstay of Juggernaut's invulnerability, and Doomsday would absolutely be able to tear him apart. So Doomsday's reactive adaptation, his massive strength and invulnerability is going to take the win of this grudge match. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, and as always, any suggestions for future grudge matches. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.